Well, hello BMCC. Welcome to another 5-minute Lightroom photo fix with this image of the Milky Way. As you can see, the foreground was illuminated by my car headlights. The first thing I want to fix in this image is the horizon. It's a little slanted and it's driving me crazy. So I'm going to go over to our crop tool. And when I click on that, I have this angle. It looks like a little level. And that's what it is. I click on that. I choose a point on the horizon, line it up with another point on the horizon, and just let go. And that's going to straighten out my horizon. That's done just like that. And now that that's done, the next thing I want to do is fix this color balance. You can see in the foreground it's kind of an orange tint because of my headlights lighting things up. Then the sky is a totally different light source, totally different color balance. If I try to adjust the entire image color balance to fix the grass, you'll see I totally messed up the sky. But one of the reasons I took this image was I did like the way my headlights were illuminating the foreground. It actually made getting the exposure a little bit easier. Normally star shots tend to be a little underexposed and you have to fix it, whereas this one, I like the way it looks now. So I'm just going to go up to one of my favorite tools, the adjustment brush. I can hit O, or if I click over here, we've got the Show Selected Mask Overlay. That just highlights whatever I'm painting in red to make it easier to see. I'm just painting over most of the foreground, any of the grass at least. And I'm going to adjust my color balance just to the grass. So I'm going to slide over to the green, over to the blue, make it look a little bit more like grass should. And I also think it shouldn't be quite that bright, so I'm going to darken it down. And I'm going to darken down the highlights as well. Now I like that effect, but I want it to have a little bit more green, be a little bit darker. So I'm going to go over to this pin and right click and just choose duplicate. And now it's a little darker, it's got a little bit more green in, but now I have to do something about the sky. It's an okay color, but not quite right. So I'm going to make a new adjustment brush. And I'm just going to start painting in that area. It doesn't have to be exact, but I want to make sure I get the whole thing. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is just adjust it. It's kind of your preference. There's no right, there's no wrong. When we went orange before, I want to go over towards the blue. And, we already saw that making it look green, did not help any. So I'm going to go the opposite direction. And right about there looks good to me. So one of the things you'll notice about most Milky Way shots are that the stars really seem to pop. Now, texture can make things do that, but it tends to make the stars look a little harsh the one way. Go the other way, though, you can actually get a rather painterly effect. But I'm going to use clarity. Now, that'll brighten the highlights and darken the shadows. I don't want to overuse it. Same with dehaze. We'll add a little bit of coloring, get rid of a little bit of the haze as well. Now this looks pretty sharp to me, maybe a little too sharp, that's a matter of preference. But I do like the dreamy effect reverse texture has on the Milky Way. So we'll get back to that in a moment. But first I want to make another adjustment layer, which I'll be doing on either side of the Milky Way, because I want to really highlight the Milky Way as much as possible. So I'm just painting down on the one side, don't want to get the ground in as well. And then I'm going to paint in on the other side, trying to miss the brightest part of the Milky Way. And, okay, and you can see that's more or less where I painted. And all I'm going to do here, I'm going to darken the shadows. I don't want to darken the stars too much. And I'm going to darken in general, just a little bit there, just to highlight the inside Milky Way area. But now I create a new adjustment brush, and I'm going to paint over just the brightest parts of the Milky Way. Okay, and let's see what I can do to bring this out a little bit more. I do like that dreamy effect, but again, you don't want to overuse it. I'll bring the highlights out a little bit more. Let's see if we can do anything with the color. Less is more sometimes. Yeah. So now I'm going to bring up clarity a fair amount, just to highlight the brighter areas, make it really stand out in the Milky Way a bit. And let's see if there's anything to do with saturation. I'm going to leave that alone for right now. You see this red hazy area near the horizon. I'm going to see if I can enhance that just a little bit. I don't want to do too much with it, but increase saturation just a little bit. Yeah. Warming the color up just a little bit works better, but I don't really think too much should be done on that. I'm just going to leave that as is. Well, here's our before and our after. I think the foreground is still just a little too bright for me, so I'm going to create one last adjustment brush, and I'm going to make a vignette. So I'm going to paint around the outside edge and the very, very bottom, just to draw the viewer's eye into the photo. So I'm going to bring the exposure down to where I think it looks good, and I went a little too far, so I'm going to pull it back a bit. And I think that is our final photo. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go here. And we can see a before and after side by side. And we went through rather quickly and maybe a little rough, but anything that I didn't care for, I'd be able to go back and refine. My original file is unchanged. This is completely non-destructive in Lightroom. So you should always remember to feel free to play around, experiment, get the image just the way you want it, because you are the photographer, you're the artist here. I'm quite satisfied with this image though, and that has been our 5-minute fix.